Hello everybody, welcome back. This is another UFO story I've got, and this one actually is not something I witnessed, but this is a story from when my dad and my uncle and a couple of their buddies were out raccoon hunting back in the 70s. And so what I got was secondhand information, but it's a pretty interesting story. And while I tell you this tale, I'm going to be kind of painting what I imagined it looked like that they saw. So let's get to the painting and I'll start telling the tale. Alright guys, so from what I remember, and again, I was pretty young. I was born in 1972. So, this was a while back. And just kind of trying to do the timeline in my head. This probably would have had to been from like 76 or 77 that this happened. So, again, this is another story from here in Arkansas. And like I said, my dad and my uncle and couple of their buddies, they were out raccoon hunting, and it was of course at night, and they saw something. When you're out in the woods at night, you tend to see a lot of things, and sometimes your mind plays tricks on you, but these guys were well-seasoned hunters and had been out in those woods many times. So for them to see something unusual, and especially to take it to the limit that they took this, is pretty outstanding. So what happened was they were out, like I said, we live kind of at the foot of the Ozark Mountains here, and they were out hunting one night, and they were going down this creek, and they saw something in the sky. And like I said, they'd been in the woods more than anybody could count, so it's not like it's not like many things out in those woods would surprise them. But this sure enough did, right? And it surprised them to the point where my uncle actually called in and got on this radio station. And he described what they saw. Now again, this is not my eyewitness testimony. This is just what I remember of the story. So he called into the radio station, and man, wouldn't it be awesome if I had a recording of that? But I don't have that. He called into the radio station and said that they were out hunting and that they saw a UFO going down this creek. And he said it looked like a missile, like a big rocket ship type missile thing. And for all you guys who know, my family that's watching this, they know what I'm talking about, and they know which uncle it is and everything else. And of all my uncles, he's the one that, he didn't drink or anything like that. He is still alive. Someday maybe I'll catch him and get his testimony on this thing. But so like I said, he doesn't drink, and I don't believe he was drunk the night that this happened. Now my dad has since he passed away in 1983, so I do not have him to talk to about this thing. But he said it looked like a long missile going down this creek in the sky. and it had lights and stuff sticking out all over it. And again, this is just the representation of how my little kid imagination always imagined this thing looking. And it had lights all over it, and it's the middle of the night. Because when they would go hunting, they would leave and be gone all night, and walk many miles over the same terrain night after night. And they wouldn't come home till the crack of dawn, because back in those days you could hunt and sell the hides. And that's kind of what my dad did. He would work construction through the spring and summer, and then he would hunt through the winter, and we would sell the hides. And I've always said I thought my dad had life figured out, but things didn't always work out for him. That's a whole nother story. But definitely was one of the things he enjoyed most, was being out there in the woods at night hunting. And so they saw this thing, and again, if you knew my uncle, this is something you would never in a million years think that he would be calling in to some radio station and talking to some DJ about what happened. But he did. It bothered him that much, or excited him that much, that he felt like he needed to call and kind of tell the world what he saw. And like I said, this is just how I always kind of imagined it to look. Just talking to them about it, and actually my dad wouldn't really talk about it much. Like he talked about it a little bit, if some folks were over at the house and he was having a beer with them or whatever, and this came up, he would talk to them about it. It's not like he avoided it, but it's really not anything that he just talked about a lot. So, but they said, just like, I don't know if you've watched the black triangle video of mine, they said that this thing had little antennas and lights and stuff sticking out all over it. And it was huge. So it filled up the whole sky, and it moved down the creek in the sky silently. There was no sound, just like the black triangles that we talked about in my other video. And I think that's the thing with a lot of these stories. The one thing that's there's been sound. Some people have heard sounds with their UFO sightings, but I think the ones like where there's no sound, those are the ones that kind of get folks the most, because there should be some sound, something this big moving down the sky and through the sky. I mean, there should be something. There should be some sound. But with a lot of these stories, there's not. It's just silence. And I think, like I said, I think that's the thing that gets a lot of folks, is just the silence of these things. Now, all the lights, if I remember this tale right, all the lights were not the same color. Like it wasn't just a bunch of red lights or yellow lights or white lights. They were all kind of different color lights on this thing. So that's what we're going to kind of represent here. And the other thing too is you folks that do have some of these UFO tales to tell, just tell them. You know what I mean? Like I've commented with a few people about these things, and my opinion is that you saw what you saw. And if folks think you're crazy, well, that's too bad for them. A lot of folks think that until they see something. And then when they see something, all of a sudden, things change, right? Then all of a sudden it's real. And like I said, especially the UFO sightings that don't have any sound. For whatever reason, those are the ones. Just talking to people that's had these kind of sightings. The ones with no sound really seem to be the ones that stick with folks, because the triangle that I saw, like I said, if something that big was in the sky, you would think that it would be making some kind of noise, some kind of racket, but it was not. It didn't make a sound, and that's what they said was going on with this thing here. Now, like I said, this is a quick little sketch, quick little painting that I'm doing to kind of represent this, but and I may be way off on how they remembered it, but this is how, when I was a kid and they would talk about this thing, this is how I pictured it to look. And we're almost done here. Just a few more little details, and we'll call this thing good. And I'll run this through a filter here real quick. And so this one, like I said, it would have been about 1977. And while today it kind of looks, a little bit drone-ish, like, the drones that were flying around, I don't know that they were flying these around in 77. And like I said, I spent a long time in the Air Force, so I really don't put it past, our government or military to have this kind of technology. Even back then, they were flying the stealth fighter in those days. That year that I'm talking about this happening, the stealth fighter was already in flight, and we were already using that thing. So, a lot of these programs go back a lot farther than people think. So even these older tales, probably a lot of them have roots in military operations, but maybe not all of them. Now, I will tell you, I'm trying to find the right filter here, guys. Sorry. I will tell you that the world is a lot bigger place than we think it is, and the universe is a lot bigger than we imagine it to be. I don't know if we're capable of imagining, the size of the universe. I really don't. I think you see things like this, and immediately you think, I don't want to tell anybody because they're going to think I'm crazy. But I think you should tell people, because there might be somebody out there that needs to know that they're not the only ones that have seen something. And I'm about done filtering this, and we'll touch it up a little bit. I gotta throw some black in there to make this look right. And again, this is just a quick one. I'm not trying to make a masterpiece here. I just want to show a quick representation, like I said, of what I imagined when they were telling this tale. So I gotta get the right brush here. So they come home and they're all excited, and my uncle calls in and starts talking to this radio DJ about what he saw, what they saw, and what happened. And just like a lot of y'all have experienced, and like what we talking about here, he was met with some ridicule, but he's the type of guy that really didn't give a crap about that. He just told everybody what he saw, and it was up to them whether they believed it or not. And I don't believe he's the type that would just make this up. And seeing as how it was a group of them, unless they were mass hallucinating about something, which I do not believe the case, they saw something. And what it was, I have no idea. I don't think to this day anybody's ever really came up with any kind of explanation of what this was. They just teased him about it for a long time, and I get that too. Like, especially back here where I live. I mean, you're going to catch a little bit of teasing for stuff like this, but you just can't be afraid to say what you saw, and that's my best advice to everybody. I keep a close look on the skies around here, and I've seen some other things, but nothing I would really just flat out, call a UFO. But there have been a lot of things I see, and the one thing that most people don't realize is that you don't look up in the sky nearly as much as you think you do. You're thinking, well, how could something like that pass by or pass through here without anybody noticing? And I'm telling you, it's very possible. Because people we're all buried up in our own lives, and with all the drama and stuff that's going on nowadays, and the pandemics and political elections and all this stuff, that we really don't just stand out on our porch and look up in the night sky and see what's out there. Alright, a couple more things here. We'll wrap this up and sign it. And like I said, you guys, if you got some tales, some UFO stories, and you would like me to kind of listen to your tale and draw my own interpretation of it, please let me know. I'm more than happy to do that for folks. And again, if you've seen something, don't feel like you got to keep some deep dark secret, because it's not. You saw what you saw. Ain't no shame in it, right? Hold on, I gotta do another layer. I'm gonna just do a little bit of layering down here. Nothing too spectacular. And we'll make this look right. But even like you'll if you go and watch some of my other painting videos, and I'm doing some kind of digital Bob Ross type deal, about 9 times out of 10 I throw a UFO up in there, because I'm almost to the point in my life where I expect to see one every time I look up. That's too much. But you guys, like I said, if you've seen one, you've seen one. And I think you should share your experience, and if I can help you to interpret what you saw, I'm more than happy to do that. And we're gonna call that good. I could add a few more little things on here just to make the picture look good, but I'm not really here to draw a pretty picture. I'm just here to kind of interpret this this thing, right, that they saw. We'll put a little bit of fog down here in the corners. Out here on the trees, we may need to I do have to do one thing here, guys. I'm sorry. I do have to make one thing look right. Right about there. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this story. It's not really too detailed of a story. The meat and potatoes of it is they were out hunting at night. They saw a huge kind of missile-shaped UFO going down the creek, and it was completely silent, and it impressed them enough that my uncle, when he got home, called the radio station to tell his story about what he saw. And again, these are not the type of guys to just willy-nilly do that, and especially at that time when you faced a lot more ridicule about that stuff than you do nowadays. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said, if I can help anybody out there interpret what they've seen, just tell me your story. I'll try to flesh it out for you a little bit. And hope you enjoyed it. This is another UFO tale. And while that's not my best drawing in the world, I just wanted to do a quick one to, again, kind of demonstrate what they saw, or at least how I remember it, how I imagined it when I was a kid. When I would listen to them talk about it, this is pretty much the vision that came in my head. Something to this effect. I've always, when we would be out in the woods, I always imagined it. I always wanted to see it. And here it is. I'm going to filter this one more time. Just one more time, guys. And we'll see if we get something cool here. And just a second. Gotta try to get this to look the way I want it to. I don't know if I'm making this better or worse here. A bit more contrast. Apologize for taking so long doing this here. I just wanted to reflect how I imagine this thing. At night, in the woods, in the creek of Arkansas. What was it? 1970s. There we go. Yep. And here we go with our final rendition of this thing. Alright. So like I said, not a Picasso, not a Mona Lisa, just a quick interpretation of what I saw, or what I imagined that they saw. This happened in 1977. I always felt it was very credible because, like I said, my dad and my uncle were not the type to make something like this up. And there were a few other folks with them that saw this as well. Maybe someday, if I can find them or gather those old guys up, I'll get them on tape talking about their experience if I can. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Give me just a second and we'll get back to the full screen here. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this. And like I said, if I can help you interpret your UFO story, you just let me know. I'm more than happy to do it. Just another tale. There's thousands and thousands, if not millions and millions of these tales. I think this stuff is interesting. I hope you guys dig it. I'll see you in the next video. You take care. Oh yeah, before I forget, I did do another alien painting, and this is bonus for y'all that stuck around at the end of the video. I did do a whole nother alien painting off screen, and I'm just going to share that with you guys. A lot of times I'll do my artwork on camera, and then I'll do like a speed paint. This is one I just did off camera just because I was in the mood to draw. Didn't feel like recording it. This is a weird one. This is kind of what one of my aliens would look like. Let me know if you dig it. It's pretty creepy.